yet again, we have the audio processing.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy. I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy. We got all kinds of shout-outs first.
You know, we have people that used our phone line, Jeezy. Did you know that?
It's like 1999 all over again. People are hitting us up via telecommunications.
They're hitting us on our beepers, on our fax machines.
Yeah, I just dot matrix printed a bunch of stuff.
No one knows what the fuck that is besides you and me.
That's the old ribbon printers that you remember
I know what that is. Like I said, no one knows what that is besides you and me. But first shout out goes to Ram Jam. He texts in and says he had a great time listening to a couple episodes when he was on the plane. He said he laughed his behind off. He also said he wants to call in when we have another discussion about the NFC West, which has his home team, the 49ers. We'll do that. We'll have Ram Jam come on.
We can either do it next week or the week after. Hit us up. We're going to be doing more schedule rankings to come.
And you can keep laughing your ass off. We'll try and work in toilet paper again into the show.
Fudging right.
And Jeezy's severe opinions about toilet paper quantities and how much is not enough.
You know, I came home today and the missus had a pack of 36 rolls in the living room so that it would greet me when I arrived. That puts our total quantity of toilet paper well over 40 rolls in this house.
Why do you need that much?
Why don't you need that much?
Are you expecting to have like a massive blowout? 5 people come to your house and just take a bunch of X-Lax all weekend? Is that what you're doing over there? You're partying with X-Lax?
No, absolutely not.
It doesn't sound very convincing.
I'm just saying, when it's time to shit, the last thing I want to do is get up with pants around my ankles and have to go look around the house for a toilet paper alternative. I just want regular toilet paper to be available to me, and I want my pants, when I'm done shitting, to be pulled up with confidence. That's what I want.
This is a sports podcast, everyone. This is a sports podcast.
All right, Ram Jam, next week or the week after. Hit us up. Also, want to shout out Wilson. Wilson came up, gave us some clarifying facts about Sean Alexander and how he played for the Seahawks back when they made their run to the Super Bowl.
You were the only one who didn't know that.
I know, but I needed it, and he hit us up, so thanks, Wilson.
Thanks for educating this uncultured swine that I do the show with.
See, everybody uses the word swine like it's a bad thing, but have you ever had bacon?
I have, yes.
That's swine.
Are we done with our thank yous?
Somebody hit us up on the Facebook Live.
Yeah, Justin hit us up on Facebook Live.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Thanks for reaching out. Justin is a guitar player, singer in a local band called the Clanky Lincolns here in North Carolina. If you haven't heard of them, check them out.
Yeah, man.
Jeezy came all the way from D.C. to watch.
That was tight.
He had a great time.
It was the best time.
Danced his behind off.
That is also right. All right, without any more people to thank.
Without any more discussion of toilet paper, hopefully we can put that to rest for a couple weeks.
Don't rule it out. We're going to continue with the schedule difficulty rankings, and this time we're busting into the NFC South.
This is a continuation of the series of articles on CBSSports.com by John Breach.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule difficulty rating 95. Overall difficulty ranking 26th.
Their easiest stretch, their first 3 weeks of the season, they open against the 49ers. Week 2 at Carolina, and then week 3 they prepare for a home game against the Giants. That could go 1-1-1, honestly, or 0-3.
I mean, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It could go 0-16.
This is true. Their roughest stretch is pretty much the rest of the schedule. Roughest stretch goes from at Rams, at Saints, Panthers in London, bye week 7, at Titans, at Seahawks. They're basically playing like 6 away games in a row.
With a bye week, the Buccaneers will go 49 straight days without playing a home game in 2019. It says the league's schedule makers basically apologized for how Tampa's schedule turned out. What does basically apologizing mean?
Basically apologizing is when you say something like, I'm sorry your feelings are hurt by that. That's not taking responsibility for what you did was mean or you're being a jerk. That's saying like, I'm sorry that you're being a little bitch.
Like if I went into the lunchroom at work and somebody was literally eating my lunch, the container has my name on the lid and it's sitting next to their glass of water as they eat all of my food. And I'm like, hey man, I think that's my lunch.
The person would reply with something along the lines of, I'm sorry you're going to be hungry later.
Motherfucker, I'm hungry right now.
That's what we're talking about with a basic apology. Like, I mean, you said the word sorry in it, but you didn't really say shit.
That is so absurd. Are you gonna at least wash my fucking container out?
Nope.
Oh my god, can you put it in the communal dishwasher?
I'm sorry that your dish is dirty still.
Oh my god. Throws it in the trash.
So let's move on to the New Orleans Saints.
They have a 96.75 schedule difficulty rating, bringing their overall rating to 22nd.
Easy stretch, starting with week 8. They play the Cardinals at home, bye week 9, Falcons at home, at Buccaneers, Panthers at home.
It's a pretty good stretch.
Drew Brees at home is something to be feared.
Week 8, though, the thing about week 8 is that's kind of a critical time of the season. So you got to put it on. You got to close out.
I guess luckily they get their rough stretch out of the way early. They start week 1, home against Texans, 2 at the Rams, 3 home against the Seahawks, 4 home against the Cowboys, which being home is helpful.
It is, but Rams, Seahawks, Cowboys, Texans, those are all playoff teams.
All right, well.
Number 2, your hometown team, the Carolina Panthers. Scheduled...
That sounds odd saying your hometown team. That's the Packers.
Your hometown.
It's my adopted team.
Where's your home?
In my heart or physically where I live?
I don't have time for this. The Carolina
In my heart.
Oh my God! In my heart? How old are you? Are you 87?
I heard you hate that phrase. In my heart, I know it to be true.
Who's ever looked at like a physiology book and said, you know what? I think there's a lot of thinking done in the heart.
No one.
No one has ever thought that. Ever. Plus, it's just a thing that old people say.
Carolina Panthers, schedule difficulty rating, 98.25. Overall in the NFL, 18th. Easy stretch, playing Buccaneers week 2, at Cardinals week 3, at Texans week 4, Jaguars week 5, at Buccaneers week 6 in London. Yeah,
so their easy stretch looks pretty good. And I'll just read a quote here. As long as Cam Newton's right arm is functioning like it's supposed to, the Panthers could get off to a surprisingly good start in 2019.
Blah. That's all I hear about one of the guys at work. So big on Cam Newton. He said one time, first ballot Hall of Famer, no question.
Cam Newton is a beast, but first off, you might remember, and I bring this up all the time.
I already know what you're going to say.
How
scared he got of Von Miller.
He was so scared when they fumbled. He was like, eek! That Von Miller is so mean, and he keeps taking the ball from me, and I just want to go home.
I'm already losing. I want to go home.
There is no first ballot Hall of Famer that ever had that attitude, especially not in a Super Bowl game.
Correct. Rough stretch. End of the season, which is unfortunate. Week 15 goes Seahawks, at Colts, Saints. At Colts? The Colts are the sleeper AFC team that's gotten really good again recently.
Well, part of it is just Andrew Luck is back. He made that big recovery a couple years ago, and they've just been building on it.
Yes.
Number 1, most difficult schedule NFC South with a 99.125 difficulty rating, the Atlanta Falcons. Overall NFL schedule difficulty ranking, 16th.
Looks like they've got it pretty easy to close out the year. Starting week 14, Panthers at 49ers.
Oh my.
Jaguars week 16, at Buccaneers week 17.
I'm starting to think it's part of the 49ers name.
No one told you?
You keep saying that every week for like the last 6 weeks.
So?
Okay, roughest stretch. Weeks 7 through 10. During that 4-week span, Falcons will play 3 of their most difficult games of the season, including Seahawks, Rams, and New Orleans.
Yeah, that's not easy. It says, that's a brutal stretch that could send the Falcons off on one of their patented mid-season meltdowns.
I like this weird scheduling note. The Falcons aren't really going to have to deal with Mother Nature this season, and that's because they'll be playing indoors for 13 of their 16 games.
That's crazy.
Takeaway here, Falcons are the only team in their division playing in the upper half of schedule difficulty.
Another takeaway is that the hardest schedule in their division is still not as hard as the easiest schedule in our division. Just saying.
All right, let's switch over quick to the AFC South. Starting with the easiest, Indianapolis Colts with a 96.75 schedule difficulty rating.
No overall NFL rating because this John Breach fellow has forgotten to put it in this article.
But if we just kind of sort of reference over to the NFC.
Here's a crazy thing. Andrew Luck has never lost to the Titans in his career.
Oh.
So the easy part of the schedule then starts in week 10 when they get to play the Dolphins, Jaguars, and Titans all at home. And that's it.
The Colts have the same difficulty rating as the New Orleans Saints, who were ranked overall 22nd most difficult.
Tough stretch comes at the end of the season, closing by playing 3 of the 4 games on the road. At Tampa, at Jacksonville, New Orleans at home. At Tampa, at Jacksonville, and then New Orleans. It doesn't say anything about fourth. What the hell is this? We got to start this whole Colts thing over. This is not well written.
Fuck it, let's move on to number 3, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We didn't even finish that one.
Oh, you wanted to go back to that? The Colts are going to do fine. Number 3, Jacksonville Jaguars, 97 difficulty rating. That's just a quarter point more difficult, so probably somewhere in the high teens, low 20s for their overall ranking.
Easy stretch starts in week 7, going to Cincinnati. After that, they will play the Jets at home, going to London to play the Texans, and that's it.
The roughest part of the schedule, over the first 3 weeks of the year, the Jags have to face Kansas City, at Houston, and Tennessee.
Okay, here's what I don't understand. Talking about their easy stretch, going to Cincinnati, having the Jets at home, and then going to play the Texans. And they talk about the Texans again in the rough stretch.
I think the Texans are going to be tough this year.
The weird scheduling note, the Jags have not won in the Pacific time zone since 2005, which is actually strange because Ben Roethlisberger also hasn't won on the Pacific coast in about the same amount of time. Tennessee Titans next.
They've got a scheduled difficulty rating of 103.625.
That's about what the Lions were.
That puts them in the low teens at the very easiest for overall schedule rank difficulty. Their easiest stretch is the Bucks, the Panthers.
That's it. They have 2-game easy stretch. That's it.
So Tennessee Titans, sorry about it. I'm pretty sure we also stole your coach, so sorry about that.
Rough stretch, beginning the season, starting at the Browns week 1, at home against the Colts week 2, at the Jaguars week 3, at the Falcons week 4. Not easy.
Are the Jags and the Falcons that good?
I guess not. I mean, I don't know. The biggest question mark for me about the Titans is Marcus Mariota because he's good, but he can't ever stay healthy. He always gets hurt.
Yeah.
He's real good for like week 6 or 7 ankle injuries.
Yeah. And I guess the Jags will see if Nick Foles elevates that team. I mean, they seem to have a lot of the pieces just a couple years ago, minus a quarterback. We'll see if that's still the case.
Number 1 in the AFC South, Houston Texans, difficulty ranking of 109, which is the 4th most difficult schedule in the NFL. Not a lot of easy stretches, but to end the year, they get to play the Titans twice, week 15 and 17, and in between that, they get a game against the Buccaneers. So that should be all right.
Yep.
It says Houston's schedule is basically a minefield. They opened the season with 2 of 3 on the road, Saints and Chargers, and that's not even the hardest part of their schedule. Week 11, they play at Ravens, Colts, and Patriots.
Why is their schedule so much harder than everyone else's?
I don't know. Did you know that New England is 10-1 all time against the Texans?
10-1?
All time.
Fudge. Interesting. Since 2007, when the international series started, 29 of the NFL's 32 teams have played in England, with only the Packers, Panthers, and Texans yet to visit.
And honestly, that's fine by me because I don't want to have to get up at like 6 a.m. to watch a game.
Texans are coming off. That's going to make it 30 teams out of 32. So that's been our roundup of the AFC and NFC South. Stay tuned for the other 2 cardinal directions and their NFC, AFC counterparts. Be there. Cause I'm cheesing my way back to you, Van, with a burning cheese inside.
That's really good. Really good. Packer section. Here's one that I found from clutchpoints.com, and I've actually read about a couple different places as well.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
The only team in all the major sports that is publicly owned. With that being said, Packers reported a 98% drop in profit over the last fiscal year.
It was like less than $1 million operating profit.
Everybody's losing their minds about it, right? But we lost some games, didn't go to the playoffs. Because of those things, people weren't buying a bunch of shit from the pro shop, I guess. But the big thing people forget is we dropped a lot of money in free agency.
Way more than we usually do. We picked up some actual talent.
And we paid Aaron Rodgers a bunch of money. And we hired a new head coach. And we hired a bunch of new coordinators.
We were definitely spendy this offseason, and we didn't do as well as we have in the past, which, just like you said, that translates into less money coming in.
This last line of this article hurts. It says, if LaFleur can lead Green Bay out of mediocrity, the Packers should return to being a profitable organization in the coming season. That hurts.
Man, fuck off. We were profitable. When's the last time he made nearly $1 million in operating profit?
Yeah, fuck that guy.
And also, who's he comparing it against? We have literally no numbers for anyone else. You check your bank account, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to buy a house. I've got tens of thousands of dollars in here. And then you buy a house and somebody looks at your bank account and it's like really low because you just spent all the money on closing costs and the down payment. All that. And they look at it and they say, well, when are you going to get your checking account out of mediocrity?
Are you kidding me? That's what all the banks ever say.
Get the fuck out of here. We all know that you got to spend money on the house to build it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just got the holes in my walls finished. So, yeah, I know what you're saying about building it up.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we're doing right now. This was a year we went from okay to building up the house.
So another thing, too, is that I learned that right after we won the Super Bowl in 96, the league was like, yeah, that's cool, but like, you guys got to make some more money or we're going to kick you out. And we did, obviously. And the thing is, like you mentioned earlier, being a community-owned team, if we ever run out of money, all they have to do is say, hey, we're going to open another stock offering, and everybody buys shares.
It's true.
My old man did, and I can't buy one because they haven't had a stock offering in years, which they only usually use for stadium renovations. But I'm sure if they were ever in the poorhouse, they could do it and make millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Sometimes you got to spend some money to get somewhere.
Speaking of spending things to get somewhere.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's almost a sentence.
Another CBSSports.com article, Packers CEO thinks the Raiders traded Khalil Mack to the Bears because they thought Green Bay's pick would be worse.
Aha.
Mark Murphy, Packers CEO, says, well, the whole Khalil Mack thing, it's not that we didn't try. We were aggressive. We wanted to sign him. I think, ironically, the Raiders took the Bears offer because they thought they would be a better draft pick, which isn't usually a bad bet, right? Usually you would bet on the Bears being worse than the Packers, so they would get higher draft picks, but that didn't happen this year.
We weren't the NFC North division dominators that we have been in years past.
That's all. That's all.
Let's not beat on that one.
That wasn't really an article. That was a statement.
It hurts me a little.
It's another hurt. Why are we beating ourselves up in this section this week?
I don't know why we're beating ourselves up. There's got to be something good. What's our last Packers article?
It's another inspiring one from yardbarker.com.
Oh, no, I see it. Oh, no.
Madden 20 designer explains Aaron Rodgers' low rating. He's the 7th highest rated quarterback. This is ridiculous to me, okay? Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Brady, number 2. Phillip Rivers, 3.
That Brady number 2 is a fucking scam.
Brady's entire career is a scam. Drew Brees, number 4. Andrew Luck, 5, which, like, no, that's a little high. Russell Wilson, 6, which is like, you got to be kidding me. Rodgers, 7. Matt Ryan, 8. Ben Roethlisberger, 9. That's jacked up, man. How do you got Phillip Rivers, 3rd best quarterback?
I mean, Rivers is good. He's a big dude, got a good arm, decent accuracy, but I don't know. That seems a bit excessive. I'm just glad we didn't see some bullshit like Jared Goff, number 4. Carson Wentz, number 2.
This is coming off a 98 overall rating in Madden 19 for Aaron Rodgers. So Andre Weingarten, the associate franchise and gameplay designer, says Rodgers has kind of been taking a bit of a downhill slope the past 3 years. His accuracy's gotten progressively worse over the past 2 years, and while he might have been playing hurt, we can't really project how much that impacted him because we don't know everyone who is hurt and how much it impacted them on a week-to-week basis. So we can only base it off the film we're seeing, and we saw a different Aaron Rodgers the past 2 years than we had seen in years past.
If you were the game evaluator, I'm going to ask you a deep question here. Is Aaron Rodgers on a decline? Yes or no?
This is the same reason why I'm bad at fantasy football. All the Packers would be 99 overalls.
Oh my gosh.
Every player for the Packers would be 99 overall. If I had my way in a fantasy draft, I would draft the entire Packers team.
Do you want to play against me in fantasy one-on-one for a bunch of money?
No, but we have tossed around the idea of doing a Cheezy Podcast league for the listeners. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
We wouldn't have enough really to do a tournament because there would be you and me, maybe Ram Jam, and maybe Mrs. Jeezy. That'd be about it.
God, one listener.
One true listener, not family included.
All right, fine.
I guess that's all I have to say about that.
I'll just quote the last sentence, which is inspired by EA's normal quote that's in every game.
It's in the game.
It's in the game, indeed. That's the closing quote.
Oh, no. I thought you meant the paragraph before that. It said, all that said, at least Rodgers can take some solace in the fact that at least he has eyes in the upcoming edition of the video game, unlike the nightmare fuel that occurred in Madden 16. And I clicked on this link. Click on that link real quick.
Oh, shit.
When I read that paragraph, I was like, I'm not reading this right. But no, Aaron Rodgers literally doesn't have eyes. It's like dark, sunken-in pockets and a black void in the middle.
It's like the face of Slender Man inside of a Aaron Rodgers body.
It says nightmare-inducing, and if I woke up in the middle of the night sweating bullets because I saw this face in my dream, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'd be scared. Very scared. Super duper scared.
Anyways, if you're interested, search Aaron Rodgers Madden 16. No eyes.
Oh, shit. Is that like Billie Eilish? Is that too much of a stretch?
It's the gossip section.
I'm getting fired again from the podcast.
Open interviews.
I'll be conducting the interviews for my replacement.
No, because then we're going to end up with some more trash.
Oh, my gosh. Did a shitty job at finding my replacement.
I'm kidding, Jeezy. I love you.
Classic play. Straight out of the Jeezy playbook.
Tyreek Hill.
Yes, what about him?
Kansas City is still interested in a contract extension with Tyreek Hill.
What was found out? What was the final verdict on all of that? So those of you who don't remember, tons of investigation into domestic violence against both his significant other and his young child.
The time that he did have a domestic incident with his girlfriend, she was also pregnant with their son. Anyways, he pled guilty to domestic assault and battery by strangulation for that one. Got 3 years of probation. He got kicked out of Oklahoma State at the time, all that kind of stuff. This most recent issue here was he had allegedly broken his 3-year-old son's arm. But it comes out here and says, the league office wrote that authorities have publicly advised that the available evidence does not permit them to determine who caused the child's injuries. So essentially, the courts found no findings of wrongdoing in this evidence, but he still is susceptible to the NFL personal conduct policies and the Chiefs, if they have any of their own internal policies. I guess they are still interested in keeping him in the Chiefs family, and he won't be suspended by the NFL.
So was this fancy attorney work, or was this sloppy police work, or was it just really nothing to go on here? And this has just been a situation where everything looks bad, but we know literally nothing about it. What's your read?
My read is that this is some attorney magic, because this is later on in the article here talking about that pre-draft incident with his girlfriend. Quote from Tyreek Hill, "You need to be terrified of me too, bitch."
That's not good.
No, that's why I say I think this is some magic attorney work, because a guy like that who can say those kind of things to a significant other, for in his own defense, Tyreek Hill says, "The last few months have been very difficult for me, especially as a father. The false allegations originally reported in March were highly publicized and involved the care of my son. I am grateful for so many things and grateful for so many people who have supported me during this challenging time. I fully respect and accept the NFL decision."
What was their decision?
Not to suspend him.
Oh, nice. I can see how you would respect that.
I respect and accept you giving me millions and millions of dollars. Absolutely, I respect and accept that.
It would be more like young Jeezy running the house, break some shit while my parents aren't home. Come home, they find the shit broken. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. I was asleep the whole time. I don't remember breaking anything. And they're just like, you know what? Let's go out and get you some ice cream. Thanks for telling us the truth. Is that what's happening here? Or no? What's happening here?
I don't know. To me, I think this is some behind the scenes handshakes and things like that. As of right now, apparently he's still indefinitely suspended by the team as of April 25th. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know.
That's what I feel like. I'm spinning my wheels here trying to understand. I just can't put my finger on.
You know what? I feel like it's the NFL turning a blind eye because this player is really good. But at the same time, I don't understand because they're so harsh on other things that don't make any sense. Like we talked about, they rake these players over the coals about weed. Like, who cares? Don't beat your girlfriends and wives and children. If that's a trade-off, like, all right, we're going to punish the guys who beat the shit out of their wives and girlfriends, and we're going to let the guys who smoke weed, then I would take that trade-off.
Yeah, definitely, obviously. I can't put my finger on this. I feel like this story has more to it, more than we can be privy to at this time. I want to talk about this next one. So, Mrs. Jeezy and I actually sat down and watched this video about Devin White. Those of you who don't know Devin White, he was an LSU standout linebacker, and he was talking about how critical it was for him to ride his horse, Daisy May. So if you get a chance, check it out. He's got this pony, basically with braids and a pink saddle, and he goes around riding it. It's so cool. And he's loving it, and he gets to ride it. And he just had signed his rookie contract when the worst happened. Daisy May had complications due to extreme heat and being pregnant, and Daisy May didn't make it.
We really need to find some less depressing articles. Lately, we've been on the sad train. Everybody knows this is our first time podcasting, right? This is our first NFL offseason. Maybe this is just what happens in the NFL offseason. Maybe this is just all the sad things happen. I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it.
Devin White's horse, its name was Daisy May, and he refers to Daisy May as his daughter and his first love. He loved that pony. And when a man loves a pony, you can't help but be sad when his pony
When
goes
a man loves a pony.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, what's there more to say? I'm very sad that he lost his pony, but it's... Oh my gosh. Well, you gotta be like that, man.
Did I get you on that one?
A little bit.
But really, though, I can totally understand the loss of a pet. It's sad. No one wants to go through it. That's a family member right there. That's a family member.
It is. If you get a chance, it's just incredible to watch him ride around on that pony. And he went so far as to say that when he didn't get to ride his pony before game day, he didn't play as well.
Is it a pony or a horse?
It's a horse.
Because there's a difference.
It's a horse. But it's kind of a small horse for that guy. If you get a chance, watch the video at the top of that article. Mrs. Jeezy and I watched it. And
were there tears shed?
Well, it's heartwarming. This is a video
so
that
there
made.
Were tears. So you're saying there were tears shed then?
No. The video is all about Daisy May. They did a little expose on Devin White and how he rides his horse before every game, and that's what the video's about. It's not about the passing of Daisy May.
Did they say where he rides it to?
They showed him. He takes it on the trails and on the road.
What happens with an away game?
That's a good question. I mean, in college, I think they travel on the weekends. I think he had time during the week to still ride.
Okay, but you said before the game. That to me means like, I don't know, a couple hours before he's got to show up, he's like riding a horse.
No. This would be a couple days before.
Oh, well, that's not the same.
Come on, what are you getting upset about?
This to me is like one of those pregame like superstitions. Here I am thinking that his pregame ritual is to go out to the backyard, hop on a pony, ride it around a couple laps, say like good girl, and then get into his car and drive to the stadium. But you're telling me he just leisurely rides throughout the week.
Yeah, he rides a horse during the week while participating in an all-American level of football.
I was misled on this article.
Maybe if you had read it, you would have known. Anyway, final quote here. White kept the horse at a stable near the LSU campus and rode her out onto the field at Tiger Stadium last November, calling it the best moment of my life.
That's heartwarming, but LSU are the Tigers.
You want him to come in riding on a tiger?
No, I'm just asking, how do I get permission to ride a horse where I feel like it? Do I have to be an All-American linebacker?
Maybe if you just ask for permission.
Hey, Jeezy.
Yeah?
Can I have permission to ride a horse all over your apartment?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Let me go find a horse so I can ride it all over your apartment.
All right, sounds good.
You, sir, are an asshole.
No, you're trying to be an asshole to my apartment, but I'm going to have giant horsey diapers to put on your shit horse when it gets here.
Why gotta be a shit horse?
I don't know if you're getting it. I just have to assume. Yeah, that's right. I'm coming after you, Van.
That's hurtful.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you.
Bring it back to the original point here. We feel for you, Devin White, with the loss of Daisy May the horse.
May Daisy May rest in peace. and made Devin White ride off into the sunset.
He's not dying.
Oh, shit. Is that not right?
He's not dying, no.
I meant made Daisy May ride off into the sunset.
May the memories of Daisy May ride off into the sunset.
That's very sweet.
That's what you should have said.
Do we go for this interesting take, or have we had enough heartbreak?
I'm bringing on the heartbreak.
All right, here it is. From the San Francisco Chronicle. Oh my gosh. San Francisco, sorry about it. So this is an opinion article by Al Sarachevich. The title is A Killer Game. Now that we know football can destroy players, what are we going to do about it?
So it's not like, yeah, killer, brah.
Right, it's like Terminator. Like, do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do.
All right, well, here's where it starts off bad. I suffered a concussion on my very first play of varsity football as a sophomore. I remember vomiting on the sideline and running right back out there. That's just what you did. He's already whining, but I'll let it slide.
But, come on, hold on. What's his very next sentence?
And I still love to play most every minute of it.
This is a guy who loves football. I mean, I don't want to beat on the same drum that we've beat on before. We already know where this is going. This is talking about the same article that was released out of Boston University about the chronic
traumatic encephalopathy.
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 It's the same reasoning, right? This guy is talking about all the things he loves about football, how much he loves the game, and how he remembers playing it and how brutal it was. And obviously, he's got concerns for his own health, but even more so about the future of the game.
He's got a statistic here that actually is really surprising to me. In that study from Boston University, they took a sample of 202 deceased players of football. CTE was diagnosed in 177 of them across all levels of play, which is 87%, including 110 of 111 former NFL players.
That's basically 100% of the NFL players.
The next line is, that's not good.
That's not good. That's well said. So here's what I want to do. Let's not dwell on that. We already know that there's a lot of danger out there. And obviously the people who are already deceased, these football players, are playing the most brutal version of the game. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there was a time when the NFL was so brutal that the president of the United States had to step in and make the game more safe.
Who is that, Jeezy?
Teddy Roosevelt.
Dude, Teddy Roosevelt, by the way, best president.
Here's a quote about old school football back in the days, over 100 years ago. So many players were getting hurt, even killed in the early days of college football, that President Teddy Roosevelt stepped in and brokered rules changes that helped clean up the sport back in 1906. This conversation continues for over 100 years.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that since 2002, the NFL has made 50 rule changes designed to make the sport safer.
Look, I think the people who play today are going to be safer than the people who played 10 years ago and safer than the people who played 20 and 40 and 60 and going back.
If you watch some of the tape from like the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, that shit is brutal.
It is brutal. Look, my brother, middle bro Jeezy, who's older, he was all-county running back, played in college. He's like, they told us plain and simple. I remember being in the huddle with the coach, and they're like, you go out there and you kill that guy. And I mean, they didn't mean that you were going to actually kill him, but you did everything within the rules to neutralize that guy.
Growing up playing football, I was told the same thing every time.
So anyway, getting back to it, he said basically there are 4 ways that we can improve the game as we know it today so that it can live on. That's his whole thing. He wants this game to live on. He loves the game, but we know that there's something happening and we've got to do something. So the first is reform. And this is what you were already talking about, Van. There's rule changes, there's equipment innovation. We got to keep working on the game, and there'll be changes and there'll be rules that people don't like. I mean, it's like the defenseless receiver. We've come to accept that rule now, but when that first came out, a lot of people didn't like how it changed the game.
I was one of them. And then as people have gotten bigger and stronger and faster, you see some of these hits, defenseless receivers get running across the middle that just get smacked and they just go motionless. I mean, it's scary.
It is. So that's the first part. There's many rules and they'll continue to evolve, and obviously not everyone's going to love them at first, but I think as long as we can stay in the spirit of the game, kind of reduce the aggression and the violence of the game, I think we can do that. So I'm on board so far. The second one is protect.
Basically, protect says, we should reconsider the type of offense we're running, smash mouth type offense. Make sure you have the best certified trainers on the sidelines ready to help in case there is a medical emergency. Stop wasting fundraising activities on trips and focus that money more towards better helmets and better padding. And the one that really strikes home with me is, he says, and don't send those kids back onto the field after they get, quote, their bell rung, which is what our coaches told us. Our coaches specifically said, if the quarterback comes back to the huddle saying spaghetti and meatballs, someone else needs to know to look to the sideline and get the right play. And the thing is, that's how it was 15 years ago. That's not that long ago.
No, that's not that long ago. So this is making sense to me so far. It's right on the spot. We've got to prioritize safety, because if we want athletes to come into this game and provide this entertainment at the highest level, they have to be safe, they have to be healthy, and they've got to not be sacrificing their whole lives for just entertainment. So his third point is legislate. This one is, I think, a little more tricky. He cites a effort of legislation back in California, AB 2108, the Safe Football Act, which failed in California last year. Never made it to committee, never had enough support. But this was basically a ban on tackle football for children until high school age.
And now this is where I stop agreeing with this guy. New rules? Absolutely. Better equipment? Absolutely. Recognizing when a player is hurt and taking them off the field and evaluating them? Absolutely. But putting a ban on tackle football until high school, to me, has potential to make the game even more dangerous.
So high school is what, 13, 14? So, I mean, we're talking 12 and under.
Now, I'm saying like 6 years old, way too young. I would say middle school and up is fine.
So, what, 10/11?
Yeah, I think that would be fine.
But I mean, also kids, they're still developing. If they do get hurt, that's a critical, they're in their development. That's a critical injury. Serious childhood injuries can be very problematic because they can affect their growth and their development, not just during that time of their lives, but for the remainder of their lives.
I understand your points.
There's plenty to be left up for debate there, but I think that is something that we need to think about. If Teddy Roosevelt can come out and broker a deal about making football safer, somebody can step up and help make this game safer so that football has a future. So the last point here is evolve. And this one I think is tricky because it's so wide-ranging. And this is about changing the game fundamentally. So he talks about a move towards a more wide-open game, played with more skilled players and less equipment. He cites this as maybe the way forward.
I think it keeps coming back to what we talked about in a couple episodes now. People want flag football. That's what this is. This is flag football. A more wide open game, so you're trying to get rid of the linemen, to me. More skill. Okay, skill positions, running back, wide receivers. Less people, less equipment. This, to me, seems like he's talking about wanting to have flag football.
And I mean, flag football is fun to watch, but
it's not the same.
Is it a proper substitute for NFL football as we know it?
No.
Let's read this last quote here to kind of wrap it up. Football of the future may not look much like it does today, but we started playing this game with no helmets, and I think where he's going to go with this is just to say we need some new resolve to help keep this game alive.
I don't have a whole lot of...
You have nothing to add to that?
I do. I agree with him on a lot of things, and I disagree with him on some things. And I think I've made those disagreements clear throughout this show and previous episodes.
Well, you've been listening to Getting Cheezy with Van and Jeezy.
That's a terrible segue.
You've been listening to Getting Cheezy with Van and Jeezy.
I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
Once again, you can always call us, text us, Facebook us during the middle of the show. Phone number is 980-2-CHEEZY with a Z. That's 980-224-3399. Or check us out on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, Twitter, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, Stitcher, cheezypodcast.com,
iHeartRadio,
and iHeartRadio. I didn't bring my flashcards again. Once again, make sure you call us, text us. As we proved in this episode, you will be featured. Or if during our Facebook Live videos, we do them every night before we record, Monday nights, and you also could be famous in the Cheezy Podcast land.
And we do want to send out a special thank you to all of you who have liked and followed our Facebook page. We finally broke 100 on both follows and likes, and we couldn't have done that without all of you out there. Thank you so very much.
We do appreciate all of you that have believed in us over the past 6 months. We started this thing thinking we were only funny to each other, and it was going to be a fun little hobby. And it's turned into a very time-consuming little hobby that we both still really enjoy. So we appreciate all the love and support, guys, and we shamelessly would like you to continue to promote us.
Thank you so much.
We'll catch you next time.
We love you. Bye.